A. This is the last will and testament of B. Michael Barrett of Southport, made on this day, the 5th of November, 2015. C. I hereby revoke all former wills, codicils and other testamentary provisions at any time made by me and declare this to be my last will. D. I appoint my sister Elaine Griffiths of Liverpool to be the executor of my will and trustee to my will trust, and shall be entitled to charge and to be paid for all professional or any other charges for business or acts done in this will. E. I express my wish to be cremated at Southport Crematorium, and the song entitled Penny Arcade by the singer Roy Orbison should be played during the service. A tape with this song will be found amongst my tape collection, and I wish my ashes to be scattered in my garden of Cherry Road, where I've spent many a happy hour. F. I also wish it to be known during my funeral service the one only female person I truly loved, apart from my immediate family and my daughter, was my Claire, hence the song Penny Arcade, and I like to think I am joining her in death. G. As regards funeral expense, I wish the expenses to be as frugal as possible, as I consider a coffin is a coffin is a coffin. Therefore, a simple plain wood will serve as good as any other wood. I leave £2,200 for the basic funeral and £50 for the said person delivering the service. All monies to be taken out of my Yorkshire Building Society monthly savings accounts, the Yorkshire Building Society Southport branch, and all other residue except for £100 for Save the Children, see the letter O on page 4, left over in the account, goes to my sister Elaine Griffiths to do with as she so wishes, providing clause R does not become valid. H. All gifts are subject to the payment of my just debts, funeral and testamentary expenses and all taxes and duties payable. I. If my sister Elaine should die before me, then her daughter, Louise Griffith of Liverpool, shall become the executor of my last will and testament, and all my household property goes to Louise, and any residue of monies left in my Yorkshire savings account, providing clause R does not become valid, shall go to her. J. I devise and bequeath all my property to my sister Elaine Griffiths to sell, in order for her to have the monies raised by the goods, with 3 important conditions. A. She must not sell my garden shed, lawn mowers, leaf blower, garden ornaments, including wall plaques and garden lights and various tools, for no less than £700 collectively. B. See that the fish in the fish pond go to a good home. And C. Sell my bedroom furniture for no less than £250, as the furniture is all solid pine and cost me over £1,500. As my sister Elaine is a keen gardener, I declare all the plants in my front and back garden were purchased by myself over the years I have lived at Cherry Road. Therefore, if she so chooses, she may take any plants she wishes to have from my garden. Okay. In order that my sister Elaine may collect any monies due to me, I would like to point out that I am always in credit with all my household bills: electric, gas, water, television licence and rent. This has always been a habit of mine. Therefore, Elaine or Louise should contact the above companies and request any monies due to me after my death. They will find all my paying in cards in the first middle kitchen drawer. As an example, at present, with my electricity and gas bill combined, I am £97 in credit, water, £77 in credit, television licence a full 18 months ahead of payments, rent I am not sure of, but I do know I am in credit. Therefore, on the day of writing this last will and testimony, I estimate I am £209 in credit, not counting rent. Therefore, any monies due to me by the said companies after my death, I believe Elaine or Louise should have, rather than the said companies. I leave the executor of my last will and testimony to claim the said monies back, in order they may benefit from it. Hell, as I own my own personal transcript of the Diary of Jack the Ripper, transcribed by myself with no personal help from anyone. Please note this is a recognised fact, acknowledged by the following professional people. A. My original publisher Robert Smith of Smith Griffin Limited. B. Mrs. Doreen Montgomery, my literary representative of Rupert Crewe Limited. C. Mrs. Shirley Harrison, the narrator of the book entitled The Diary of Jack the Ripper. Mrs. Harrison can be contacted by Mrs. Doreen Montgomery. It is important to note that in case any legal proceedings should arise over my will, I do not anticipate any the following facts. When I first encountered all the above names in the Rupert Crewe office for the first time, I handed a copy of my transcript of the diary to them, which they kept, as they could understand the diary. As stated, I have the original transcript of the diary, along with some of my notes. There was a time when I was transcribing the diary, I had too many notes on notepaper, so in order to protect myself, I did not give them all of my notes, nor did I inform them I kept 2 copies of my original transcript on floppy disks. I simply printed out some of my notes and gave them a transcript of the diary, which included several mistakes, not so much to mislead them, but to prove that I and I alone had transcribed the diary exactly the way the pages of the diary had been written. I kept my original transcript for safekeeping should there be any legal dispute in the future. It should be noted, I was not to know writer Shirley Harrison would produce the one and only copy I gave them on publication. You will find, if you check, the underlining of the transcription of the diary they produced within the book entitled The Diary of Jack the Ripper does not match the photographs of the Diary of Jack the Ripper within the book, whereas my translation matched the pages precisely. Therefore, if any legal dispute should arise over who owns the transcript of the diary, my next of kin can produce one of the original floppy disks I've translated the diary on. I made 2 copies to make the legal case. I enclose 1 copy of my notes and transcript on floppy disk within this will. It is very important to note my ex-wife, now Anne Graham, address unknown, as I believe, has stated many years ago, she helped me translate the diary. This is a total fabrication of her mind. I make the previous statement on pain of death, and may God never forgive me if it is a lie. I and I alone translated the diary. Simple truth of the matter is, why do I have the only 2 copies of the translation of the diary on floppy disks, and she has not? The records show that very few people now believe the story she came out with that she owned the diary before I retained it is totally untrue. Once again, the simple matter was, at the time of the first publication of the diary, she suddenly realized she had no claim on the diary, hence her false claim. She owned the diary before me. Naturally, it upsets me that I should have to put all these facts in my last will and testimony, but I sincerely believe I have no choice in order to protect my translation of the diary and my copyright on the translation. I enclosed the said floppy disk with some of my notes and translation on it. In my mind, which is sound, I may add, affirms the enclosed floppy disk, which can't be backdated, at least I don't think it can, unless I am some sort of computer genius. I assure whoever is reading this I am not, that I and I alone translated the diary. The floppy disk was written on an old Amstrad computer, if that helps anyone to prove the floppy disk is genuine, and I broke the seal on the back of the floppy disk on the day I finished translating the diary. The plain fact of the matter is the floppy disk is truly the original disk, so no legal problem should arise on the matter of who owns the original transcript. I do. Therefore, I devise and bequeath the translation and copyright of the Diary of Jack the Ripper to my 2 great nieces. I enclose a novel entitled Jack's Back, written on a CD R80 disc, within this last will and testimonial, exclusively written by myself. As I own the copyright on the said novel, I devise and bequeath 1/3 of royalties after publication, read enclosed sealed A4 brown envelope, to be divided equally amongst my 2 great nieces and to my great nephew, on the understanding of the following condition: that my sister Elaine or her daughter Louise, depending who lives the longest, become the trustee to any royalties due on the novel Jack's Back, until both of Louise's daughters become 25 years of age. As for Daniel Griffiths, as he is an adult, he may have any royalties that come his way there and then. As for the remaining of any royalties from the novel Jack's Back, I devise and bequeath 1/3 to be divided equally between my sister Elaine and her daughter, my niece Louise. If either should die, then the other half of the royalties should be transferred to the survivor. I devise and bequeath to my daughter Caroline, address unknown but can be contacted through Doreen or Caroline Montgomery, my literary agents, the last remaining 1/3 with only one wish in mind, to inform her that no matter what happened in the past, not once did I ever stop loving her. In fact, on writing this will, I have decided to write her a letter and hope one day she may read it. I enclose the letter with this last will and testimony and pray that she does read the enclosed letter. Oh, I devise and bequeath the sum of £100 to Save the Children, the Southport branch. P. It is with deep regret I have not included my other surviving sister, Lynn, within this will. But I have always believed families should stick together through thick and thin. I admit I am no saint, but in the last 8 years, from the date of this will, I have tried to make up the damage my addiction to alcohol had caused. And that's what it was, addiction. However, I conquered that horrendous addiction long ago, but I cannot find it in my heart to forgive Lynn for setting her son Christopher onto me. I still have the physical scars to this day. He broke into my flat and knocked my teeth out. In fact, it's a wonder I did not report him for breaking and entering and grievously bodily harm. Nor can I forgive Lynn for the threats she has made towards me in the past. Sisters do not do that type of thing towards brothers, at least not in my world they don't. And as this is my last will and testimony, I would like it to be known to her the following words. Money isn't everything in life, Lynn. Q. In case this last will and testimony should be destroyed through circumstances unknown, I would like it to be known a copy of this last will and testimony has been logged with my sister Elaine Griffiths of Liverpool on the condition she does not open the sealed envelope in which this will is contained until after my death. If Elaine should open the sealed envelope that contains this will, then clause M and N become invalid, the part that reads. In fact, on writing this will, I have decided to write her a letter. Therefore, all royalties on the novel Jack's Back shall go to my daughter Caroline. A second copy of this will has also been logged with someone I completely trust, so no misunderstanding can arise over my expressed wishes within this will. That person will come forward if and only if it seems to them my wishes within this will are not being adhered to. I assure my sister Elaine that this will not happen, providing all the sealed envelopes I have given her have remained unopened until my death. R. If by some miracle I should be reconciled with my daughter before my death, then I devise and bequeath my sister Elaine or Louise, depending who is my executor, at the time of my death, will share what monies I have left over in my Yorkshire savings account after my funeral expenses and £100 to save the children with my daughter Caroline. All other of my written statements within this last will and testimony remain the same, with the added thanks and love to my sister Elaine for not only standing by me, but by being the best sister a brother could have. I also wish to praise my niece Louise for not only being a good mother to her children and daughter to her mum, but also making her Uncle Mike very proud of her. Thanks to you both, from the bottom of my heart. S. As for my ex-wife, I devise and bequeath all the animosity I have left inside me, which is very little now, for blackmailing me with these words. If you don't agree with my story, I will make sure you never see Caroline again. Those words are ingrained within my heart to the day of my death. May God forgive her for using the love I have towards my daughter against me. She knows the truth, as do I. If there is a God, then may he forgive me for telling the truth and losing all. But I totally refuse to be blackmailed by anyone, either then or till the day of my death. Blackmail is a tool for greedy fools. Signed, Michael Barrett.